I gotta set this thing up. You ready? Here we go. And today is Wednesday, March the 6th. If you're listening to this today, I've seen it on the internet that today just happens to be some type of giveaway thing at Sonic where they're doing, it's not a giveaway, I don't know why I said giveaway. They're doing like dollar hot dogs today. I'm on this keto diet, so of course I'm avoiding the bread, but there is a part of me that really wants to go get a hot dog from Sonic because it's been a while since I had a hot dog from there. But enough of that. Anyway, so a lot's happened this past week. You guys may know that if you listen to the podcast kind of regular, that I had trouble getting this thing to publish on Saturday. I recorded like super early Saturday morning. My wife was out of town, and I woke up at 4:30 and thought, you know, my brain was firing hot, and I had a lot to say, and I was like, I want to get this out. I want to say it. Plus, I had my grandson coming over, and I felt like if I didn't record something then, it was going to be hard to do it later. But I had a lot on my mind, and I thought, let's hit record and let's get it going. So I recorded, and I was able to publish, and the program that I use to publish is Anchor.fm. If you go on the internet and look it up, that's how I use I record all my podcasts and I publish them through Anchor. And they've recently been bought out by Spotify. I got an email saying, hey, we've been bought by Spotify, it's going to make things better, blah, blah, blah. You know, the typical corporate takeover kind of lingo. And I did notice some slight changes. There's some different screens now that come up that didn't used to come up. One of the screens that comes up tells me that now there's options for sequencing. Like you can actually sequence it, season 1, season 2, and then numbers and that kind of stuff. Which is interesting. I mean, let's face it, if you're the kind of person that does a sequential type thing, a way of cataloging, then you would want to do that. I guess in a way that would take it out of the title portion, which I've been doing since day one. I've just been writing them episode 1, episode 2, episode blah 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 blah. I think if I'm not mistaken, I'm not looking right now, but this could be, I want to say episode 85. 85 of these. Wow. If you've listened to all these, I really appreciate the support, and I hope that I've gotten better as time goes on. I've definitely made an effort. You may hear a little bit of a cold that I've got right now. I've got something I think that my grandson gave me. I at first chalked it up to over singing at church this past Sunday, but to be honest, I've had him a couple times in this time frame, and there's mucus involved. So it's not just over singing; it's something else. So appreciate that, little boy, little Jackson. Thank you for sharing your love with me and your sinus infection. It's really awesome. But anyway, I had recorded an episode and I tried to publish using this new page that Anchor has. And on this page, it's got a thing where you can break up your segments and move ads around and that kind of stuff, which looks interesting. It looks like, I've heard people say that if you move ads to the middle of the podcast, that it could generate more revenue and that kind of stuff, which I thought, I'm not making any money from, honestly. I think for every 1,000 listens I get like 10 cents or something like that. Maybe it's every 100 listens I get 10 cents. It's very low right now. This is the beginning. This is where we're all starting, right? You gotta start somewhere. So I'm looking at this thing and I'm watching it, and I normally when I hit publish, it publishes right away. Like I literally just click a button and poof, it's out there on the internet, and you guys can see it on iTunes and Google Play and all the places where you find your podcast. Some people listen to it on Spotify. Some people listen to it on Pocket Cast. Some people listen to it on Anchor. Some people listen to it on Orange Box. There's a bunch of different platforms. I think 9 different ones is what I currently am able to publish to through Anchor. Well, this past Saturday when I went to hit publish, nothing happened. It went nowhere. Like it literally had a spinning wheel, and it just looked like it lived there and died there. And I was like, okay, well, what's going on? Why isn't it publishing? And I thought, okay, well maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I screwed this up. And I've been doing something lately where I've been recording in GarageBand. And if you're watching the YouTube right now, I'm showing you the GarageBand program running. I've been recording on GarageBand and then moving the audio over to Anchor to publish. Because I realized that it's easier to record on GarageBand and move it over rather than make a mistake and then have to re-record the whole thing. If I make a mistake on here, I can just go in and find the audio and remove it. Sounds easier, right? And it is, in a way, but it also means that I have to do a lot of other work that's kind of behind the scenes that you guys don't even need to see. One of the benefits, though, was I didn't lose my audio. I didn't lose the stuff that I recorded. So when it didn't work and I thought, okay, well, I've made a mistake, let me go back and fix this, I was able to go back in and just re-upload a audio for a podcast, and then I titled it something different. That way it wouldn't try to overwrite the other one or get confused with the other one, and I would get confused with the other one. And when I had to hit publish again, it got stuck again. And I was like, all right, well, what's going on here? So I looked on my phone and I was able to look up the Anchor podcast app, and I clicked on it and I could see that it was there. I was like, okay, it's there. So then I went into my phone and looked on iTunes and it was not there. And I was like, okay, I don't understand. Maybe this is something to do with Spotify buying Anchor. So I decided I'd wait a little while, because on there was a little text that said, this may take up to 24 hours to publish, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, fair enough. This may be something to do with Spotify buying them, and maybe there's a glitch that's holding them up right now. Obviously, they've spent some time remaking the interface online so that things could publish differently. Maybe they're on hold right now because they got a lot of code going through and they got a lot of people trying to fix the thing so that it goes smoother. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just check it tomorrow. Okay, so I've been real steady about putting content out twice a week. I try to do it either Friday when I get off work or on Saturday. And then I try to do it again on Tuesday when I get off work or on Wednesday. Just whatever is convenient. Whatever happens to happen, that's what I'm doing. So this was Sunday rolling around, and I went to church and had my day at church and sitting there looking at my app and going, why is this not publishing? Why do I not see it? Why is it not working? And it got frustrating because I looked at it and I had one listen. One. And I thought, well, that one is me. That one time that I listened to it on my thing. So I thought, okay, let me reach out to somebody, because I know that like my buddy Byron listens to this, and you know, he's a truck driver, and a lot of times when you're on the road, you tend to put stuff in to keep you awake. So you hit play and you sort of count on material once in a while. Like I listen to Joe Rogan a lot. You guys know that, and Bert Kreischer. And when I'm on a trip and I got to drive a long way, I plug that in because I want to find something interesting, something to keep me awake. So I click on these guys and I listen to their conversations, and it helps me stay awake the whole time. And I thought, there got some people out there that are probably in the same kind of boat. They're looking for material. They're looking for stuff to keep them active and keep them going. And I appreciate that. I'm glad that I get to be part of that. And if you guys want to be part of that too, let me know, because I'd be more than willing to have you on, and we could talk about anything. I mean, nothing's off limits. But when I saw that it was nothing, I reached out to Byron and I said, hey buddy, I'm having trouble on this end and I'm not sure what you can see. Can you see it on any of your things that you look at? Because I know that he's an Android guy and I'm an iPhone guy, and sometimes those platforms don't exactly jive together. And he said no. He said, I can't see it anywhere. I can't see it on Google Play or on Spotify. And he said, I can see it on Anchor, but it won't play on Anchor. And I sent him a link, and he goes, okay, it'll play through the link, but I can't play it on the regular app. And I thought, okay, something's not right here. So I went back into Anchor on the laptop here, and I found the program and looked at the audio again, and I thought, well, maybe it's this screen. Maybe it's this added screen where they have me move stuff around. Maybe I don't do that. Maybe I just try and load it differently. And I tried to load it differently, and it worked right away. I mean, I didn't move anything. All I did was move the audio over to the file. I dragged it over, hit publish, and boom, right away it published. And I was like, okay, well, crap. I don't know why this other page didn't work. I'd already written them a letter saying, hey, this is what's going on. I'm having trouble. And I even looked them up. They now have a page on Twitter and on Instagram. I was able to look them up. And I wrote them on all their different social media pages that I could find saying, hey, listen, this is a problem. I hope you guys are working on it. But just to let you know, if you slide any of your ads around on this other page, it will not publish. So hopefully they're working on that. And I know a lot of people don't even care about any of this. I kind of wanted to tell you what I was going through with this. So my wife went away with some friends this past weekend to have some fun. And they did. They had a blast. And when she came home, I was looking, Saturday night, I happened to be looking online and I saw something from Elon Musk posting about his, he has a venture called SpaceX, which is a private company that's basically building rockets and rocket ships and the ability to go into space, and has a lot to do with space travel and stuff like that. And he has yet to launch a person, but he has launched a lot of satellites and he's launched some gear. And most recently, this past Saturday as a matter of fact, they launched their first crew ship, a ship that actually can hold crew, up into space, that then docked with the International Space Station. And I remember Saturday night looking at my social media and seeing something posted about it. And I was like, interesting. So Sunday, when my wife came home, I was looking at YouTube and she and I were talking about this and that. And I happened upon a page on YouTube that said live. And it had the spaceship. I think it's called the Dragon. Is it the Dragon Crew? Yeah, the Dragon Crew, made by SpaceX. And it had a live loop where Saturday night at like 2:29 a.m., I guess that's their window of opportunity, this rocket took off from Florida. And it had cameras all over it, and the video coverage is incredible. Whoever put the YouTube stuff together with the videos, it did a great job. This thing takes off from a launch pad. You get to watch, it has like telemetry written on it where it has like the miles per hour, which I was amazed watching this thing go up to like 20,000 miles per hour. It showed sections where it detached from its main rocket booster. And I was, as a kid, I remember watching this kind of stuff on TV. And from my understanding, whenever these rockets used to take off, these rocket boosters would just fall to the earth and they would burn up into the atmosphere and eventually fall into the ocean. And then you had to have like crews go out and like pick up the debris from the ocean. And sometimes they did, and sometimes they couldn't find it. Sometimes it was just trash in the ocean. Well, one of the things that Elon has worked on is having a rocket booster that once it detaches, it actually has a controlled burn on its descent, and it lands on a pad in the ocean. Now, this is incredible for a lot of reasons. Okay, it utilizes GPS, which we have now. Works pretty darn accurately. But it's also a lot of telemetry and a lot of controlled things that are going on with moving parts. Where this rocket ship, just imagine a rocket ship, okay, a tubular with a pointy head kind of deal that shoots off into the atmosphere at hundreds of miles an hour, can then descend at a controlled burn so that it lands vertically on a pad in the ocean. They can recover the thing with no problem. There's no lost debris. There's no craziness that goes on. The materials that were used all gets to be recovered and recycled and reused. It's amazing. It is amazing. And there's cameras on it. So you get to watch this on this channel and you get to see this thing happen as it happens. It's like, holy crap, I can't believe this. I was so excited. I'm watching this. It was labeled as a live feed, which it was actually fed live when it happened. But it was at 2:29 in the morning on Saturday night, or Sunday morning, whichever one you call it. So, I mean, unless you were up watching this, you couldn't see it. But now it's on a loop that I could watch Sunday evening with my wife sitting on the couch. And I was like, can you believe we're watching this? This is amazing. And this Dragon cruise ship it took off and it detached from its primary booster, from its secondary booster, and then you get to watch it actually come to contact with the International Space Station and then hook itself up to the International Space Station. Inside, they have like it looks like a dummy sitting in the corner with a spacesuit on. I don't know if it's a dummy. There's always a joke about, what if that's some guy that did Elon wrong in the past and his body's inside that thing. It's kind of morbid. That's probably not the case, but still, it's kind of fun to think about. But they had a plush toy in there that looked like a big giant globe with a smiley face on it and arms and legs. And this plush toy was just sitting in the cabin. And they had cameras in there pointing at it, and they realized that as it went around, once they got to weightlessness, this thing would then just kind of move about the cabin. And you get to see it actively moving around in the cabin once it gets to weightlessness. It's incredible. It's really incredible. Not only do they make contact and they attach to the International Space Station, but then they have video of the astronauts that are on the space station then go inside and they look around and they take these little instruments to check to make sure that the atmospheric pressure is the right levels and all this stuff, and to make sure it's all safe. And everything's good. Everything worked. Everything worked. This is not like a government program of, like NASA. This is a private company that just said, we're going to space. When the budget had been so bad that our own country and our own president decided that NASA was just too expensive to run, and they pulled the budget, this private company is like, hey, we'll do it. We still want to go to space. We think there's opportunity. We think there's a reason we should be in space. And they did it. And here you get to see them attach. And it's such a historical thing to watch. I mean, and I doubt very few people actually watched it. I saw the link and I linked it on Facebook, and I was like, people are not going to believe this. I mean, if they understand the magnitude of what this means, that just a company just decided, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to test for it. And if you watch anything that Elon does on his social media, he's logged progress of this along the way. They've had a lot of tests where the rocket has blown up on the launch pad. They've had a few where the rocket that's supposed to land onto the pad in the ocean has landed and gone sideways a little bit and then exploded going off the side. And there's been all kinds of problems as they've gotten up to this point. But this point, this was the test. This was the ultimate, we're doing this. And it worked. It all worked. It worked beautifully. It was amazing to watch, and I was inspired. I mean, I could just imagine being a kid seeing this and going, oh, I want to do this when I get older. I want to learn about this. I want to see how this works. Think about the fact that when we were kids, okay, I'm just assuming that you're my age. Everybody listening out there is my age. Think about the fact that when we were kids, if you wanted to learn something, you had to go to the library and look up things in books, and you had to guess at where you'd find this information. And now you can literally go on the internet and type it in a search engine. YouTube is the number 2 search engine in the world behind Google. You can type in anything you're curious about, and there's information on there. Right now, just me talking about this, somebody may hear this one day and go, really? And look on YouTube and go, wow, I can't believe this is real. I can't believe I get to see this. And of course, it's always the first step that's the hardest. It's every step afterwards that becomes easier. So now that they've done this, it makes you think, okay, well, they did this without a person in it. The next step, obviously, is to do it with a person in it. I mean, right? So, hats off to Elon Musk and his incredible SpaceX crew. You guys did an incredible job. If nothing else, you've inspired me and hopefully a generation of people to also do the same things and to pursue the same things. And it all starts with the first step. And if this is the first step, then we'll look back at this one day and we'll go, I can't believe I got to see that when it happened. It's incredible. It really is. So anyway, that happened. And this is the Stuff I Heard podcast, not just the stuff I watched. But let's talk about some stuff I heard. Okay, let me look on my little phone here for a second. So I listened to Joe Rogan episode 1256 with David Lee Roth. David Lee Roth is the lead singer, or was the lead singer, of Van Halen. He's an incredible guy. He's lived an incredible life, and he says a lot in this episode. Episode 1256 came out this past Thursday. It's a fun interview. Now, me as a kid, I got to grow up with Van Halen being a really cool rock and roll group. They embraced MTV at the right time. They had fun videos. And he talks about how a lot of this was very calculated, about how all of their moves that they did was thought about. And it was meant to encompass everybody and to invite everybody to have a good time. And it did. Their music invited everybody to have a good time. And, you know, he was eventually replaced with Sammy Hagar. And then David Lee Roth went off to do other things. He talked about how his doctor wasn't his doctor. He talked about how his dad was a doctor. He was an eye surgeon, and about how as a kid he used to assist him in surgeries once in a while. And later on in life, he decided he wanted to go to school to be a licensed EMT. And at 50 years old, he became a licensed EMT, and he did that for about 4.5 years. And he talked about what it was like for that life. And Joe kept asking him, you know, what made you do this? And, you know, David Lee Roth is worth millions. Like, he didn't need to do it. And his main thing was he just wanted to experience life. He wanted to be a part of other people's lives. And he felt like it's cross-training for everything else in life. He talks a lot about cross-training. He talks a lot about experience as much as you can from other venues and other ways of living, because it all becomes information for you as you move forward. It's a lot of good information. I enjoyed the podcast. It's a fun podcast to listen to. He is a very compelling, interesting guy, and this is a fun interview. I'm currently listening to episode 1255 that came out February 27th. This is with Alex Jones. Now, a lot of people know Alex Jones as this guy who was the spokesperson or the face of the show InfoWars. And he's a conspiracy theory guy, and he got blamed for a lot of things that weren't necessarily his fault. He was just the face that they could throw into this mix. Now, what I know of Alex Jones before this podcast was he was a guy that get angry on TV, and he would talk about conspiracies, and he was seen as a little bit crazy. Okay, that's all I knew. And I had heard that he got banned from YouTube, and that I think Twitter kicked him off Twitter because they believed that he was preaching hate speech. And when you listen to this interview, you kind of learn that this was something that Hillary Clinton decided she was going to do because he sided with Donald Trump during the election time. And it's not that he's a Republican. During the Bush presidency, he was against President Bush because of a lot of things that he had some dirty dealings with his father. And he's just all he is a conspiracy theory guy. He's got a lot of ideas, and he's got a lot of crazy shit that he thinks are dangerous and the people should know about. And the crazy part is a lot of it's true. That's the really weird part. But Hillary, during the presidency campaign, had verbalized the fact that she felt that he was a danger to society. And Google and Twitter decided that, well, she must be right. So they put a ban on him and didn't allow him the space to exist online. And he made his living off of his show. And his show went away. All he's got now is his website. And the guy, listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat things. The guy sounds like a crazy person. He does. He sounds like a crazy person. But that's because a lot of the things he talked about is crazy shit that's really happening. This is like a 4.5 hour podcast, and I've listened to about 3 hours and 45 minutes of it so far. And the guy has the knack for talking incessantly about everything. I mean, anything that he finds connects to another thing that he knows about, he wants to tell people about. And I hope that he's wrong on a lot of things he talks about. There is a lot that he's discussing in this that will put people into a panic if they hear, especially if it's true. See, that's the thing, is you don't know if it's true. Some of it's true, but you don't know if all of it's true. It sounds like such crazy stuff that you go, surely this can't be real. Even Joe had a TV show on TV, called Joe Rogan Explains Everything. And they would go and try and find Bigfoot, and they would try to find aliens, and they would try to find, whatever. That was his TV show. Okay? And he and Alex Jones have been friends for over 20 years. And Joe says, the reason that we're friends is because you believe in a lot of crazy shit, and a lot of the stuff you talk about is true. Like, we find real evidence that it's true, and it terrifies me, but also interests me that you still run around talking about all these things. And Alex Jones is like, yeah, I'm trying to tell people what's going on. Now, here's the thing is, Joe points out that if you're a conspiracy theory guy, that you buy into the conspiracies no matter what. A lot of times you buy into the conspiracy before you even think it's a real conspiracy. Before you even know any of the facts. You're all in at that point. You're the kind of person that you're playing poker and you just slide all the chips to the middle of the table no matter what. You're like, I'm in. I'm just so in. And Joe's like, listen, I think that part of this is that. I think part of this is that you're so in that you can't back out. And he says, but I don't know 100%. That's just it. Like, so much of this that you've talked about is true, and we found evidence that it's true. And if it is true, then yes, you need to have a platform to be able to speak about it, and you need to be able to tell people what's going on. But the other part of it is so terrifying that it could be true that I kind of hope you're wrong. I kind of hope you're a crazy person. But I don't think you are. And I kind of felt the same way listening to it. I kind of felt like, God, there's so much going on here. Is it possible? Is it true? It's worth a listen. Listen, I'm going to tell you, it'll make you feel paranoid a little bit listening to this guy, because he gets ramped up, and it's sort of like a boulder running down a hill listening to. I mean, it is just... You can tell that he's red-faced in the room. I'm sure the YouTube page has probably got over 2 million hits already, and it just came out. I gotta be honest. Listening to the podcast, I want to watch it on YouTube just so I can see how angry he's getting. Because he's just spouting off so much information. And it's like, what? Wait, what? What? And you almost wish you could have like a truth thing. That's sort of like a truth dome, or truth serum, or a truth whatever, where you would know, like a bullshit meter. Is this real or is this false? Is this for, is what you're saying a real thing? And you don't know. But man, it creates some good conversation. So, anyway. I am looking forward to, not to shift gears that quickly, but I am looking forward to my dad coming to visit. He's going to be here this weekend to come pick up the Rambler, and we're going to have some videos on that. And I'm continuing to work on this cedar slab wood to refinish it. I'm putting pictures up on Instagram, and I'm putting videos on YouTube, so go check that kind of stuff out. And I'm going to cut this out just before you hit 30 minutes. I don't want to have to reset the camera. I am looking at new cameras, by the way. I want to replace the camera that I'm currently doing this on so that I can record longer without having to reset it. So anyway, I know you guys don't care about that. That's it. You guys take care. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys are doing great. Talk to you later.